What is good, rookies? Welcome to our review of the Game 7 and Game 8, where we had the infamous St Kilda versus Port Adelaide, and then North Melbourne versus good old West Coast Eagles. Now, before we jump into it, we have reached a milestone. This is a milestone I was hoping to reach at the end of this current season, so end of 2025 season of footy. And we've already hit it before the season even started. We've now cracked 200 subscribers. You guys are absolute legends. I feel like I'm saying thank you at the start of every video, but it's true. I appreciate all the support, all the likes, all the nice comments. You guys are making this journey just that much more enjoyable. So, with that said, let's jump into the games. We're going to start with Saints and Port. And boy, did we have some big scores. We're going to touch on St Kilda first because there were a fair bit of letdowns. And then we'll jump into the Port because, again, like we kind of talk about in the last video, with these practice matches, the scores don't mean as much as what they think they would. So don't go chasing the scores and bringing in players just because they got high scores. Remember to look behind it, realize why did they score as well, who's out, what's the situation, and kind of go from there. So for Saints, McRae, this is one where you can happily say he's an absolute lock. F3, F2, F1 if you're going cheap, he's an absolute lock. Boxall, if this man can get the minutes and can crack the 22, which I hope after this performance, I hope he gets that opportunity, even though there's a few rooks from St Kilda that we're all kind of banking on starting. If we want most value for money, Boxall has to be the one. He played 62% time on ground, cracked an 83, was going hard at the ball, taking big hits, good marks. It's overall good use of the ball. Can't ask for any more than that from a rookie. We had Steele and Naz around the top 70s. It's hard because St Kilda looked horrible. They looked absolutely horrible. And I have my eyes set on Steele. I'm not even sure if I want Steele anymore. Or Naz. Naz did really good. He had a good time on ground. His disposal efficiency, though, I think is what let him down, which is a consistent thing with Naz, is just how he handles the ball. And he's usually a pretty good ball handler. Some of the kicks, though, just weren't good. I still think the team is finding their flow. Overall, though, do I think Naz is still a safe pick? I think so. I think the person that we need to drop, I'm going to mention shortly, but I think if you still want Naz, I still think it's a pretty safe pick. Again, we're not expecting high ceilings, but we're not expecting low floors either. He's a safe, consistent pick. So take that from what you will. The person that we are all concerned about is Garcia. I say all. I don't think I saw enough from a 250-odd K player. Slow to start. Just didn't really have it switched on in the first half. He definitely picked it up in the second half. Don't get me wrong. The whole Saints team picked it up in the second half. First half was atrocious. First 40 minutes was horrible. But I think you're on either two sides of the fence, Garcia. You saw enough today where you can kind of fade and choose one of the rookies that's kind of stood out that you are going to bet is making 22. Or you saw the role and are banking on the role providing the opportunity to score better than this. Both are good options. I don't think you can make a bad choice here. You make a bad choice, you can easily trade down to a rookie that's playing who's still going to get you around 70s. Or he goes better and you've made the value, you've got the cash. Again, when we're at that 250 price point, they have to score high in order to make the cash that we need, which is about 100 to 150K. So, yeah, it's tough. It's not the worst score. I think we all kind of wanted to see more, though. I'm still undecided about Garcia. We'll see what happens. We'll see how the rest of the team structure changes with the last of the practice match to be tomorrow, which is Freo and Melbourne, which we won't cover in a video per se, but there'll be something after the game to pay attention to. So stay tuned. The rookies that we want to kind of touch on. So we had Hasty, Boxall, and O'Connell, and Hall, and Boyd, of course. We have already seen what Boxall can do. This is great. That's a big tick. What about Hasty? Hasty actually looked quite good. Looked really, really good. I don't really have... It has this on it, though. Did he get hurt? I might have missed that. Question mark on Hasty now? Otherwise, if he's not injured, he did look really good. I think he's a good chance. O'Connell actually looked pretty decent. I think they had an injury in Owens go down, which also potentially helps boost Boyd get into the ruck because they might be forced to swing Rowan down to the forward line to help support them. Because that was their issue. If you watch the first 40 minutes, they could not buy possession in their front 50 at all. At all. Port were just intercepting, picking up the loose ball, just a pure problem for St Kilda, and they didn't know what to do about it. And they were overthinking it too. They were just handballing when they shouldn't, or kicking when they shouldn't, and taking weird shots on goal where they could have just handballed it off to a running player and got an easy drop punt goal. Anyway, Hasty looked all right. O'Connell might be forced to play with the rotations that need to move because Owens is out. Not sure on the extent of the injury. Might be an AC injury from memory or from what I heard from the reports. But one to watch O'Connell. He could actually be best 22 from what I've heard. Paul looked good in the start and then just went quiet. So I don't know if he's like the front runner because the reports were that he was front runner from a few different people I was hearing from, that he was front runner to break the best 22. I don't think this is really going to represent that anymore. Boyd only had 40. Now, don't get me wrong, he is a big boy. He has got the build for it. But in saying that, Sweet and Soldo destroyed him. So, not really sure what to make of Boyd. I think you just still pick him because the role's there. I don't think that role's going anywhere. But we'll see team sheets and then we can kind of make the call there. That's what I purely am basing that. Because they might just think it's a stretch and put Rowan in. Or they may not. We'll see what they want to do. Otherwise, just go Reedy. Because I think we're pretty confident Reedy's got that spot. May not be there for the scoring potential, but he's going to score and he's going to play. And if it's R3, So outside of that, we saw Keeler come on. He actually showed that he's got a bit of spice to him. Seems like he knows what he can do. Tall man. Did some ruck time. Not too bad. Outside of that, we had Toby come on. Toby's not an option. This is probably the most disappointing one because he was talked up all preseason and he just hasn't been around to play at all. So it only came on in the second half. Yeah. So if you got Toby still on your team, please move him on. Jumping into the more exciting Port Adelaide, obviously no Butters. Rosie popped off. Now, can we expect these scores outside of a practice match? Probably not. But again, we know Rosie could have done this. We've seen big numbers from him before. If anything, this probably just concretes that there's a lot more opportunity without Butters in the midfield due to that knee injury and operation, where I think for value as well, Rosie's probably going to be a decent pick. I don't think you can really go wrong, but be aware that him or Butters are now going to cop more attention because they're now top two because Butters isn't there. Bergman played well. I'm not sure if he's putting his hand up for a role. One to watch. Logan Evans is one to watch, along with Finlayson. Finlayson screams trap, though. The reason why I highlight these two is because the question to Port Adelaide is who's taking Houston's role. I don't know if we have like an outlier that's really taking that role because we thought Farrell would take that role, but he was playing also more mid and he was being pushed up the ground. I honestly think this role isn't a role anymore. I see just a gaps being filled by different players. But for Logan Evans, who is relatively cheap, this is massive. He looked really good on ball, really good in defense. Just, yeah. We kind of saw this last season as well from him. We saw the potential, which is why some people voted him in. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Evans, but one to keep an eye on. 40 man, 108. I don't think you really have to overthink this pick. Lock him in. Who else? Richards had a really strong first half. First quarter, I think he clocked up like 50 Supercoach points, maybe 60. It was nuts. Absolutely nuts. So, one to watch. I think he's around 300k. And I know Finlayson's around the 300k mark as well. But Finlayson screams trap. I don't know why. He got thrown back because they had no other option. It was his first game playing in the back, playing like a halfback role. He did really well. Will they can do that consistently? We don't know. There's literally no role security there, so I recommend not going towards it. You could take the risk by all means, but not for me. SPP, not horrible for a 180k, injury cloud player. If you're looking at taking Berry, he had some moments where he shined. Don't get me wrong, where he just consistently ran from 50 to 50 and just destroyed it, but they were far and few between. I don't mind the SPP pick here. 180. Younger, you can get. I think you can get better players and better value out of your 180. And that's probably it for Port and Saints. We're going to jump into the better game. Again, we're seeing a theme here. There's always like a blowout game and then a competitive game. This competitive game was West Coast and North. Holy, we will get to North because there's not too much to talk about West Coast. Outside of Baker is putting his hand up to be an option because it does look like he is purely playing that halfback role. From what I saw, he might have moved up and got some CBAs as well, but it looked like it was definitely a defensive role for a 95 where they got really pushed around a bit. I didn't really actually see too many highlights of Baker. Flynn got a 98. Promising, but only for like a flex. I don't think I'd be confident putting him in R2 just because he's already had injury concerns in preseason. I'm surprised he was even able to play today. And it did look like shared ruck duties with Williams. But a 98 is still decent. So I don't think you could go wrong with putting him in flex, but make sure you have an exit strategy from him. Baker did enough. But McGovern, he has all the kick-ins. I don't really have too much to say. He does look good. He's a good interceptor. We know what McGovern can do. He is McGovern. Again, injury cloud though. You start him, run him out until he's injured and then trade him off? Potentially. I haven't really looked at him, if I'm being honest. We had Reed. Nothing too exciting. He did have a chat to the doctor on bench. I can't remember what quarter it was. But he did come back on. I don't think he's an option at that price. I think there's much better value like Sarah. Hutchison. We've seen some really good explosive stuff from Hutchison, but I don't believe that he's a pick at his price. So spend your money elsewhere. Archer Reed, same as well. I think we were hoping for bigger things from Archer Reed, just given his height. He could ruck. Full forward. I don't think it's there. We didn't see Marek at all. And Allen ended on negative 12. One person we were hopefully relying on, and I'll get to someone who's not even on this list, negative 12 in a practice match. Delete him from your team instantly. And Hewitt, nowhere to be seen. Not even on the emergency list. So this raises big concerns. I'm not sure why Hewitt wasn't named. I don't think there's been anything out about it. But yeah, negative 12. That's crazy. Anyway, into the more exciting things. Sheezel, Sherry, absolutely destroyed. It is, while we want to play for value, this is really hard to pass up because Sheezel is just, how do you not start him? I want to play value this year, and I can't help but feel like not starting Sheezel is a horrendous decision. Sherry, I can probably stomach because he's got a tough fixture. He was up against Flynn. Sherry walked all over Flynn and Williams. So I'm not expecting this in his first lot of the fixture. He's still going to do well, don't get me wrong. But I'm more comfortable fading Sherry. I can stomach that risk. I don't know if I can stomach Sheezel. I don't know if I can do it. I do not know. Daniel as well, and LDU doing really good things. Doing really, really good things. And then we had Cal, which just seems to be a consistent high score. one to potentially watch. O'Sullivan did quite well. Bit of a wing roll, jumping between half back, half forward. Could be a potential option. I'd go talk to Big J from Centre Bounce about O'Sullivan. He'll tell you the final call. I haven't looked too closely at him, but this makes me want to take a closer look. Bakirch at 87, kind of what we're expecting at this role, where he's kind of playing a high half forward. Yeah, I don't think. I think you can spend your money elsewhere in the defense line at least. Who else was there to talk about? That was probably it from North Melbourne, if I'm being honest. But this is where we're kind of at the moment, is from the practice games, and we've only got one more. We're seeing who's got the potential to score really well on easy teams, i.e. Richmond. If you just captain any of your primos that are playing Richmond, and you'll do great. But we're seeing who we absolutely cannot fade, i.e. Sheezel, who's got potential. LDU, I would still say, is a bit of a pod pick. I still think he can do what we need him to do. Bit of value there in LDU. I'm looking at him. Daniel's a lock. But we're getting some indicators on rookie chances of getting into the best 22, their role, how much time on ground they're getting. Now, again, practice matches, grain of salt, usually for the second half, they're rotating into their younger side and the rookies to get them some match experience. And for them, it's really about performing and showing that they deserve to debut in round one. But yeah, in blowouts, it's harder to take solid things from that. In these games where it was pretty competitive, I think you should definitely keep an eye on Baker. Maybe throw Flynn at the flex. I'd say maybe pass on McGovern. Don't look at Reed. Don't look at Hutchinson. Don't look at Merrick. Don't look at Hewitt. Don't look at Allen. All those rookies are gone. And then for Saints, I think it's just confidence building for McRae. Lock him into your team. Steele, one to watch. Boxall, one to watch. Hopefully gets a debut around one. Naz, I still think is a safe pick. Garcia, take your risk. Play it safe. Do whatever you want. And then kind of keep an eye on which one of these other rookies like Hastings, O'Connell, and Hall are going to crack into the side. Be mindful that whoever comes up is probably sub-risk. But again, we see without Butters, Rosie probably has the ceiling and the potential to score high. So I think there's a lot of value in him. Finlayson's a trap. Hornyman's a lock. Don't even worry about it. Just throw him in. Evans is a watch. Take a risk. Might be worth it. Yeah, SPP, if you're struggling and unsure, you can throw him in. He's got that experienced body in there. That's all you can really go there. And Josh Sin as well, if I did touch on. Don't spend money on him in the back line, please. And that's it. So, as I mentioned during the video, I won't do a video reviewing Melbourne versus Freo. Follow me on X and I'll do some notes. But there will be content coming afterwards anyway. So just pay attention to X and you'll see what's happening. But yeah, if you're watching the game tomorrow night, hop on YouTube and just keep an eye out for things for after the game. That's all I'll say for now. Thank you again for watching and all the support. You guys have been awesome. I am always looking to improve my content, whether it be how I talk, the pace I talk, the lighting, the camera. I just like making high quality stuff. I am a rookie. This is my second year. I've said it from the start. I'm not going to give you deep stats, deep analysis, but I am going to give you my thoughts, my interpretations, because everyone interprets Supercoach a little bit differently, looks for different things when starting players, and has different goals. Some people are playing for overall. Some people are playing for league and head-to-heads. Everyone has a different purpose. Some people are just playing for fun. They just want to make a team of people they love to watch, and they just want to see what happens. So what I would love to know, in the comments below, if you've made it this far, like the video for one, subscribe, and let me know how many years you've been playing Supercoach for. I'll see you in the next one.